everyone and welcome to a brand new video. Today we have our first mysterious case of the year and I'm truly very excited to start giving my everything in this 2022. I'm very enthusiastic about it. I have many things to show you and I don't know, I feel like this is going to be an amazing year. Last year happened everything that needed to happen. We're leaving that behind and we're starting this year with everything. But before we begin, don't forget to follow me in my social media. You know I have a billion social media accounts. You can find me there, we can talk. Follow me on Twitch when we're going to start with everything. We have a streaming back again. Subscribe to this channel and activate the notification bell so it lets you know when I upload a new video. Without anything else to say, let's begin. The case of Claire Miller. Well, this case is not so long, but you requested it anyway, and I think it's a good way to start this year, for this is a very interesting case, but also a difficult one. Claire Miller is born in Manheim Township, Pennsylvania, and has a normal family of 2 parents and 1 older sister. She was a girl that, let's say, it had a good life conditions. She didn't want anything, she wasn't going through any hardship, and she even studied at a private school called Lancaster County Day School. We could say that her father was a more high class than low class, tried to give them a completely normal lifestyle, a good one for his daughters obviously. She and Helen, who was her sister, never went through any hardship. The school they went to had only 550 students, which talks a lot about the quality of education they were given. It was even said that it was one of the most expensive schools in the States. But there was a particularity. Claire's sister, Helen, had a disability. She was 5 years older, but this disability made her rely a lot on her family and especially on Claire. She was a woman, she was her sister and she took care of her a lot of the time. She took her everywhere, she went with her to the hospital appointment too, and never left her alone in any of the complicated moments she had with her illness or whatever she had. The house where they lived was also a very good house, located in one of the most exclusive neighborhoods, and they had all the comforts there, especially for Helen. But both of them were very good students. Both Helen and Claire were very participative. Both of them were recognized in school, people loved them a lot too. They had a very good grades, and in general, they lived a relatively normal life. Obviously, unlike many of us who haven't lived in that kind of situation, they stood out because a member of their family had a disability, which obviously caused certain complications, but despite that, their lifestyle was good. So this was never a very delicate problem. But here I'm going to dive deep in the events themselves, where there isn't much information about their personal lives, but there is more information about the things that actually happened in this case. This happened last year, 2021, precisely on February 1st of that year. Helen and their parents, as always, went to sleep in their beds normally. However, Claire stayed awake for some time more, and what they didn't know was that she was having some behaviors and some violent thoughts around those days too. At some point, she goes down to the kitchen, takes one of the knives that are there, goes up again, opens the door from her sister Helen's room, and starts hurting her, in what kind of way. On her neck, she hurt her several times until she realized she was dead, and she also covered her face with type of pillow. Either way, obviously this scene was completely full of blood, and all this happened while the parents were still asleep. They say that apparently what Claire did in that moment was to go out of the house, wash her hands with the snow that was on the yard, and around 1 in the morning, she herself calls 911 and tells the police what just happened. They arrive almost immediately, and the first thing they notice is that Claire had a lot of blood in her hands. She was disturbed, and some thought that probably it had been an accident or that something like that had happened in the house. But in that moment, Claire only said, "I stabbed my sister, I stabbed my sister," She was completely in a state of shock, and what the police did was to get in the house, and obviously in that moment the parents reacted. They woke up and said what is happening, and then obviously they found this terrible scene. The police found the girl covered by all her sheets in a terrible state, and with the weapon was still on her neck. They obviously did the first aid protocol. They tried to resuscitate her, but in the end, at 4:45 in the morning, she is declared dead. Let's say that the things they noticed too was that Claire had kind of gotten out of her state of shock, but she didn't look regretful about what she had done to her sister. Obviously, the police immediately arrested the girl, and her parents were in complete shock. Sometime after the audience, they had time to process everything that happened. Her parents looked devastated, evidently, for what had happened, and then the due process started. In Pennsylvania, there isn't a difference in terms of age for crimes, and despite her being a minor, she was going to be processed as an adult, and her sentence could be as hard as if she was an adult. They say that if a kid is mentally strong enough to commit that kind of act, then they have to be tried as an adult. And I think that makes a lot of sense. It is said that according to the images and what was seen at the trial, it was very particular and heavy for the parents, for they were facing her daughter who just murdered her other daughter. Her dad stood in front of her while they questioned her, but her mom couldn't do it. Even the lawyer joked a little bit with the girl to relieve the tensions, but obviously all the evidence was there and she couldn't just say, no, it was an accident, it was a mistake. At present, she hasn't been sentenced because it is said that her lawyer is trying to somehow make the court process her as a minor. It is unknown, but he's trying this for her to go to a minor's detention center or even to a psychiatric center. She's currently in a prison that has a separate unit for minors, and sometimes they can mingle with other age groups' populations. But for now, let's say that she's still in the process of waiting for her sentence, whether she judged as a minor or not. But if she's judged as an adult, she can even get the death penalty for that. Either way, they're still evaluating her mental status to assess if she has some disorder or something like that. For me, she has one. Depending on that, they can see how the sentence go. But you will say, like, what happened in this case? Why did this situation occur? Why did this girl make that choice? Let's say that there are several ways of thinking about what happened, and they are still investigating what the reason could be. But one of them was that she was jealous of her sister for the attention she received due to her disability. There is also another theory that talks about her being physically and mentally exhausted for taking care of her sister under those conditions. There's something very particular, and is that at that time the girl had a TikTok account, which doesn't exist anymore, but let's say that many people recognize her as the TikTok killer or things like that, because she uploaded some of her videos. I'll be showing you here some of them, and obviously many of her videos started going viral when this case came to light. More than them becoming viral or not, for me what's particular is that this video she made showed for me in a way like some kind of depressive behavior. Reflecting some mental problems, the attitude she had gave out a very low energy, and obviously these videos don't exist anymore. Her account doesn't even exist anymore because TikTok deleted it for violating their TikTok policies. But many of these videos were definitely very particular. They were very odd, and it is like they kind of show her darkest side. When you watch them later, obviously knowing the story, they give you like a bad feeling. A friend of Claire sometime later started saying that her friend had some suicidal and homicidal attitudes, that she often talked about those topics, that she talked about death as if it were something incredible. But they say that Claire's parents didn't agree with that with her friend, and we all know that sometimes we're one in our homes and another one with our friends. This happened especially during the teenage years. I believe the things the friends said because sometimes we tell more things to our friends than to our family. They also constantly talk about the attention her sister Helen received. Their parents paid her more attention than they did to Claire, so somehow she felt offended, attacked, Like she didn't want them to pay so much attention to her. That may be a reason, but this obviously comes from some mental issue of something that's really wrong with her. And the other thing they say was that Claire was constantly tired for looking after her sister. Her father worked a lot, same as her mom, so it was like she felt she had all that responsibility and that she was simply exhausted. Still is not an excuse to kill someone. And well, as I've told you, so far this case hasn't been solved. They are still doing the due process to know how they're going to judge her. This is also a very recent case, that's why there's not much information, but let's say that is linked with some very particular things like TikTok, for example. Nowadays, the new cases always appeared on the internet, like the DD Gypsy case somehow. I don't know, there's a lot of many particular things here. From my point of view, I feel like they have to evaluate if they put her in some kind of a psychiatric rehabilitation, because for me, everything she did is more related to psychiatric problems at such a young age. Maybe if they send her to jail, something very similar might happen there if she keeps having this kind of thoughts and psychiatric problems. I don't know. Either way, I don't know what you think, what you believe is going to happen. You know that if there's any update, I will include it in the updates video. You requested this video a lot. I know it's not too long, but I wanted to tell you the case and for you to give me your opinions. But anyway, guys, I leave this video here. You know that if you like it a lot, don't forget to leave a like and a thumbs up. Comment what you think, what you feel. Follow me on all my social media. You know I have a billion social media accounts. Subscribe to this channel and activate the notification bell so it lets you know when I upload a new video. Thank you so much for watching me. Don't forget to follow your dreams and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!